So hello and welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to learn the mapping portion for the continent of Africa. So moving on to the first thing, the seas surrounding Africa. So the important seas surrounding Africa, this is the African continent like this, and the important seas are first is the Mediterranean Sea, which we have read about in the previous videos, then the Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, and over here is the Red Sea. Red Sea is of utmost economic as well as strategic importance, and it is mostly in the news for the Houthi rebels of Yemen. So, this right over here is the Gulf of Aden, then this portion is the Gulf of Guinea, Guinea, not Guinea. This is the Gulf of Guinea. This is the Strait of Gibraltar, which basically separates uh, Europe and Africa, and this Gulf of Aden separates Asia and Africa. So, there are a total of 54 countries in the African Union, and this African continent is called as a dark continent. Dark in the sense that it is less explored. There are many intricacies in this continent which are yet to be explored. So, the countries of the Mediterranean Sea. So, we have earlier read about the countries of the Mediterranean Sea, which were from the Eurasian perspective, but now we're going to see the African countries around the Mediterranean Sea. So, from the Africa, the countries of Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, and Egypt formed the boundary of the Mediterranean Sea. This right over here is the Strait of Gibraltar between Spain and Morocco. So, we have earlier read about the Sinai Peninsula. This is the Sinai Peninsula connecting Africa and Asia. And this is the Suez Canal, which is an artificial canal constructed in order to shorten the trade route. So, uh, let me know the names of the gulfs over here, which we've discussed in the previous videos. These countries, the names of these countries can be remembered by the mnemonic MATLE, MATLE, where M stands for Morocco, A for Algeria, T for Tunisia, L for Libya, and E for Egypt. From left to right, like this: Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, and Egypt. So, why are these countries in news? Morocco is the only country to have coast in both Atlantic Ocean and Mediterranean Sea. So over here is the Atlantic Ocean and this is the Mediterranean Sea. So Morocco is the only country which has coast in both Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea. It separates Europe from Africa through the Strait of Gibraltar. This is the Strait of Gibraltar, which we have discussed about earlier, and it claims of on Western Sahara. So the Western Sahara region also lies in Morocco, and Ibn Battuta, a medieval historical figure, was also from Morocco. Ibn Battuta is an Urdu uh, poet. Then comes the country of Algeria. Algeria is mainly a Saharan desert. So it is in news because of the anti-government protests over there, which is called as the Revolution of Smiles or the Hirak movement. So this is Algeria. It is in news because of the anti-government protest or the Hirak movement, which is also called as the Revolution of Smiles. Then comes the country of Tunisia. So Arab Spring of 2011 started here. So the Arab Spring of 2011, so 2011 started over here, which was called as the Jasmine Revolution. So this is the country of Tunisia, which housed the Arab Spring of 2011. Then comes Egypt. The capital of Egypt is Cairo, and Egypt is mostly famous for the pyramids and the Pyramid of Giza. So, the countries surrounding Red Sea. This right over here is the Red Sea. And as I've asked you previously to tell me the names of the straits over here. So, uh, first, this between Egypt and Saudi Arabia is the Gulf of Aqaba. Israel and Jordan also have their coast in this Gulf of Aqaba. Then this is the Gulf of Suez, which is between Egypt and Saudi Arabia again. So this right over here is the Suez Peninsula, the Sinai Peninsula, and this is the Suez Canal. So the countries surrounding the Red Sea are Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Sudan, Eritrea, Djibouti. Djibouti is this small country right here. Then Somalia. Somalia basically comes in the Gulf of Aden, so we'll just consider Djibouti, Eritrea, Sudan, and Egypt from the African side, and from the Asian side, it is Saudi Arabia, Yemen, and if we consider Gulf of Aqaba to be part of Red Sea, then we would have Jordan and Israel. But we basically consider these countries only: Egypt, Sudan, Eritrea, Djibouti, Saudi Arabia, and Yemen. So from the African side, it is SEED. We remember it by the acronym SEED, where S stands for Sudan, E for Eritrea, another E for Egypt, and D for Djibouti. So this is the mnemonic SEED. So moving to the countries and their important issues in the news. Sudan is in news because of the internal conflicts in the Darfur region. Also, the Arbat Dam collapsed in Sudan, causing heavy flooding in this region. Next is the country of Eritrea. It is called as the North Korea of Africa. It has strict government and military control and military rules as well. There are many stringent government and military rules. China is investing in mining projects over here in Eritrea. So this is Eritrea, which is called as the North uh, Korea of Africa. Then comes the country of Djibouti. It has its coast most in it has its coast both in Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. There's a code of conduct in which there's mention for the control of maritime piracy. Then present location in Djibouti is the Lake Assal. It is the lowest point of Africa. So now comes the Horn of Africa. Horn of Africa is basically this portion right over here. This is said to be the Horn of Africa. So the countries lying in the Horn of Africa are from here to here are Eritrea, Djibouti, Ethiopia, and Somalia. Somalia is this country. Then we have Djibouti over here, Eritrea, and this is Ethiopia. So Ethiopia does not have its coast in like it does not have a coast. It's a landlocked country. So this can also be remembered by the acronym SEED, where S stands for Somalia, E for Eritrea, E for Ethiopia, and Djibouti. So earlier we had Somalia, Eritrea, Sudan, Egypt, and Djibouti. So in the Horn of Africa, instead of Egypt, we have Ethiopia. This is the country of Ethiopia right over here. So Somalia was in news because of a famine over there, also because of the collapse of government and economic policies, which then led to piracy for the pirates. Also, there were suicide bombing and gun attacks as well in Somalia. Then comes the country of Ethiopia. It's a landlocked country, as I've shown you earlier. The capital of Ethiopia is Addis Ababa. Addis Ababa is famous or popular because it is the headquarters of the African Union. So Ethiopia is important because of the capital Addis Ababa, which is the headquarters of the African Union. So Tigray, a place in Ethiopia, is bordering Eritrea. So it's a border between Eritrea and Ethiopia, and there are militancy and conflicts going on in Tigray. Then coffee originated from Ethiopia. Coffee originated coffee originating country. Then countries with coast in the Indian Ocean. So these are also called as the West Indian Ocean region because this over here is Indian Oceans, and then these are actually the islands uh, of the Indian Ocean. So the countries which are a part of the West Indian Ocean region are first is Somalia, which is also in the Horn of Africa, then Kenya, Tanzania, Mozambique, and South Africa, and this is Estuary. This is landlocked. This does not have its coast in West Indian Ocean region, or does not have its coast in Indian Ocean. So this can also be remembered by Somalia to Saudi Arabia via KTM, where so the countries are basically Somalia, Kenya, Tanzania, Mozambique, and South Africa. Kenya, the capital of Kenya is Nairobi, which is the headquarters of the United Nations Environment Programme. It is also famous for the 1982 Nairobi Conference. It is in news because of heavy floodings over there, and Kenya basically has Sudan type of climate. Then comes the country of Tanzania. Tanzania has Mount Kilimanjaro, which is the highest point of Africa. So the lowest point of Africa, as we have read earlier, lies in it's Lake Assal lies in Djibouti, and the highest point lies in Tanzania, which is Mount Kilimanjaro. Then comes Mozambique. It is in news because of Cabo Delgado, which is uh, Islamic insurgency in the region Cabo Delgado. Then comes South Africa. Its capital is Pretoria. Pretoria. And South Africa, everybody knows, is famous for the Gandhian Satyagrah. Then the country of Eswatini, which is landlocked, which I showed it to you, which is between Mozambique and South Africa. So Mozambique over here, South Africa over here. This is Eswatini. Also, we've seen about the Madagascar island in the islands in the Indian Ocean. These are some of the islands: Seychelles, Comoros, Mauritius, Reunion Island. Okay, so then there is Lesotho, which is surrounded by South Africa. It's an enclave. Then, as I showed it to you earlier, Madagascar, which has rich biodiversity. So there have been some animated movies on Madagascar as well. These are very good to check them out. So Madagascar regions which were in news are basically the biodiversity which was in news was lemurs and injuries. These are basically similar to monkeys. These are primates. Then we have the baobab tree, which is big sized and stores water inside it. The baobab tree. Madagascar, as we've read, is famous for its rich biodiversity. Then comes the country of Namibia. Namibia is known for the Namib Desert, which has the highest sand dunes. And the Kuno cheetahs, the cheetahs which were brought to the Kuno National Park in MP, were basically brought from Namibia. It also has high reserves of uranium and diamonds. And then comes the country of Botswana, which has the Kalahari Desert. So we are left with all of these. I'll see you guys in the next video where we discuss about the countries around Gulf of Guinea and the other parts of Africa. Till then, see ya. Bye.